Okay, this is Division 1 action. Now this is the round 1 matchup between myself and Christopher Sandman. Chris Sandman at the top of the screen. Chris, famous in the group for developing that little intro scene you just saw. He created that. And it looks like he's on blue-black control. I'm playing a deck I copied from the Romanian players in the Standard Super League, Black-White Vampires. I quite like my chances against these control decks because before sideboard I try and get them early. After sideboard I bring in things like duress that can do some damage. I'll be right back. And it looks like my Queen's Commission did not resolve. Basically this deck, I just keep jamming threat after threat and hope something sticks. Again, a disallow on my Call to the Feast. You can see I'm pretty much out of gas now. Scavenger Grounds here to stop Ascanta from flipping, but I've still got a couple of turns in order to resolve that. You can see Chris is down to 3 cards, but basically I just have to keep jamming things and hope that I run him out of town. I'm really surprised he put the cast down on that rather than Legion Lieutenant, but then you see he's got 2 of them. In response, I'll sack the graveyard, so Ascanta can't flip next turn. He's on 1 card, so just an eye on that card advantage. And now the flood begins. You can see I'm up to 5, potentially 7 lands, so I'm just forced to play this Legion Lieutenant out. I think it's about my 3rd one that I'm going to jam. It meets a Fatal Push. I still do have Radiant Destinies that act as lords, pumping my vampires as well. Yet another Legion Lieutenant. Does he have another spell? Ascanta now, he's up to 4 in the grave. Here's one of my lords. And this meets a counter spell as well, so he's down to 1 card. He's at 5 for the Ascanta. I do have an answer to that Liliana, the cast out. So you can see we're both kind of out of gas, but he's going to be able to flip that Ascanta next turn. I use my Fatal Push to remove his zombie, so he's down to the last card, draws 1, but now he's got an Ascanta, so he's going to start generating big card advantage. And I'm playing off the top of my deck, so this doesn't look good. I draw a Radiant Destiny, so I have yet another Lord. This one resolves. He's only got 1 card in hand. I was a little bit surprised because he countered the last one. I thought he would activate the Ascanta and at least see what he can find there. He finds a Glimmer, so he's going to be tapping out into turn. You can see I've got the City's Blessing now, so my creatures have Vigilance. But to have him with a flipped Ascanta, 17 life, is not where I want to be at this stage. So this game 1 is looking pretty ominous for me. He just flashed a Vraska's Contempt. But my chances of flipping this Legion's Lieutenant are extremely slim. He's going to be able to counter it anyway. Legion's Lieutenant, you kind of need it in your opening hand. If it comes this late in the match, you're usually either won or it's irrelevant. Scarab God, so I need to top deck it something like an Ixalan's Binding or a Cast Out. This one's over. And what a top deck, an Ixalan's Binding. He's going to get one activation out of the Scarab God. Targeting what? Oh, the Gear Hulk. So he's going to be able to... Yeah, there's a disallow there, so this one's over. I'm going to concede. We're going to go to game 2. You can see I bring in 2 Uggles Bloodfast, which is an awesome card against control. It's massive card advantage because he's not pressuring my life total. So I quickly resolve that. And I can get some pressure down. I played Duress first because I want my Legion's Landing to resolve, and it's going to because he disallows my Duress. You can see he's got the Field of Ruin on the other side of the table, so if my Legion's Landing flips, it's not long for this world, but he will have to tap out in order to get rid of it. And this is a super aggressive cast down on a token. That tells me that he doesn't have an answer to my creatures. So I just keep jamming now. Yahenni's Expertise is a good card here, but I'm not too worried again because I don't know how many he's got out of the sideboard, probably 2 at most, and look at that, my board's straight back to where it was. The only thing I'm missing at the moment is a Lord. If I can find a Lord, I'll put this one away. You can see I've still got the Doomfall in hand. And Uggle's Bloodfast hasn't even started working yet either. So Legion's Lieutenant is going to flip. It immediately gets eaten by Field of Ruin. But I've got 4 creatures on the board now. I just passed a turn because I want to draw cards with Uggle's Bloodfast. This one I don't mind, I've got the Vraska's Contempt, I can answer that. But this is kind of awkward now. Or now I've got an Ixalan's Binding as well. He's tapped out, so I'm going to go for the Binding. The reason for that is that I see a Scarab God and Liliana as his 2 main win conditions. So if I Binding one of them, it means he can't play it. Here I'm going to take... What do I do? The Phyrexian Scriptures because it can remove my board. So I know he's got a Gear Hulk, I've got an answer to that in Vraska's Contempt and a Disallow, but he's so far from being able to Gear Hulk and Disallow in the same turn, it doesn't matter. Vraska's Contempt I don't care about, that's a lousy card against me because it's basically a 4-mana card to remove a token. I have a Field of Ruin for that Ascanta, so it's not going to do much. Scavenger Ground's a bit too late to the party. It is going to be good against the Gear Hulk though. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to force him to play the Gear Hulk because he's got 8 cards and it does work. So he's going to tap out for the Gear Hulk and it means I'm going to be able to Vraska's Contempt the Gear Hulk. So now he's got a Disallow and a Vraska's Contempt in hand. Although he's going to get an extra card now because of the Supreme Will. He is at 10 and I'm kind of wary about letting this go on for too long because if he can start to recover, I desperately need a Lord here. So I'm digging, trying to find something. And I'm a bit surprised he disallowed that, but I can actually Field of Ruin on his turn. So I like this one because now I can Field of Ruin the Ascanta. And I can Ixalan's binding the Scarab God, which means he can't play any more Scarab Gods. So it resolves. Scarab God is no more, so he can't play Scarab Gods or Lilianas. So now I think I've run him out of win cons. I just need some way to get around that zombie, and as soon as he swung, it's like great news for me, because it means I've got Within the Deadlands is going to take the zombie down, but these are all life linking vampires. Cast Supreme Will in response. You can see he's down to one card. I choose to go the Martyr of Dusk over the Queen's Commission because I want to activate Argyl's Bloodfast, because I'm drawing cards faster than he is, faster than I'm taking damage. I can just keep firing these off. Sorcerer's Spyglass is brought in for the 2 threats that I've taken care of Ixalan's binding, so it's useless now. So now he's drawing cards. He's still got that 1 card left in hand. Glimmer. So he's tapped out here. I'm thinking, for love of God, give me a Lord, and this one is over. But he concedes anyway. He'd seen enough, so we're going to game 3. No lands, can't keep that. This one's a bit weak, but Dusk Legion's Elliot is a very good card. I don't want that Vraska's Contempt, because it's not going to be required for a long time, and I need lands. I think just a brief pause there. I choose a Martyr of Dusk first because I want the extra power on the board. You can see he missed his 3rd land drop. Again, he cast down pretty aggressively there. Again, he misses his 3rd land drops. This is big problems for him. I'm going to duress first because I want that Queen's Commission to resolve. I believe I took the negate, because I'm going to he would have needed to hit a top deck land in order to cast Disallow. So I take this opportunity now to resolve Argyl's Bloodfast, because I think long term it's a great win con against control. So I'm kind of forcing him now to quickly get to the Scarab God, and then I've got the answer with the cast out or the Doomfall. But he'd seen enough. He's missing too many land drops, so we're going to Modern now. So I come back from a game down to take Standard 2 games to 1. This is not an ideal hand for Modern, but I'm going to keep it because Rumming Up Excavator can generate serious card advantage. But he immediately turn 1 Thought Seize takes my knight. People generally will take the knight in that situation, as that's the card that I absolutely do not want to see against my deck. Relic of Progenitus and Graveyard Hate in general is just really difficult to deal with. Tide Hollow Skull is a nuisance. It's going to take my Excavator, so now I'm just playing off the top. And he's going to keep going to work with that Relic. Of course, is a nice card to draw. Now, even Mind Sensor, I can almost set it up here where he's going to kill what? I think he takes down the Voice of Resurgence. I probably... Yep. I've got this set up where I can actually keep my rumming up excavator if I can get around that damn relic, and then Ghost Quarter. So I'm going to do the Ghost Quarter right now. Take down his Eldrazi temple. Even Mind Sensor means he can only look at the top 4 so he doesn't find a card. But you can see the 2 cards I want, Excavator and Ghost Quarter, both sitting in the grave. The second Tide Hollow Skull is going to find nothing. I do have other excavators, so I keep the Ghost Quarter there. And another Ghost Quarter sitting on top. It's tempting. So now with the Noble Hierarch, I can start swinging the Mind Sensor with fly, the Exalted trigger on the flying. I wasn't too upset about that Ghost Quarter, but Knight of the Reliquary is just not good at all against Relic. So he's going to bring in Collective Brutality, get rid of my Mind Sensor. Now the Knight is not very good here, but I bring it in because I just want to find Gavany Township. And it also gives me the option of finding another Ghost Quarter if I require it. And that's just a 2/2. This is third Tide Hollow Scholar. Again, that pesky relic is doing the business. You can see it shrinks my Knight each time. But you can see Courser going to work here. I'm up to 23 life. I'm going to get the trigger here, so he can only chump block, he can't get both of them. And I will sack that to get my Gavany Township. And just pump that Courser a little bit higher. You can see both of us now playing off the top of our deck, so that's why I quite like Courser and also Gavany Township, because Gavany is just going to make everything much bigger. Vault of the Archangel is very annoying here, because it's going to give those Tide Hollow Scholars Death Touch. He's cracked his Relic to try and find something with the card draw, but he doesn't find it, so that's given me an opening now where I can get this Excavator and start going to work. See, a second Knight on top is suddenly very appealing because I don't have to deal with the Relic anymore, but I thought at this stage it's time to go after the throat, and he concedes. As soon as I find the Ghost Quarter, it can take down that. But he's got that pesky Relic again on turn 1. I do bring in, I think I bring in a Stony Silence and some artifact removal here, but 2 relics means I'm really looking for the Stony Silence. I can, Thought Knight's going to take my Collected Company, which is kind of annoying. But I can Ghost Quarter his Temple next turn if I want to. But Path to Exile, very enticing. So I Ghost Quarter his Temple. He immediately sacks one of the relics, which I quite liked because he gets the extra card draw, but it means that I only have to hit one of my artifact removals to get rid of that second relic. I think I did side out. That Thought Knot's going to find nothing, but I did side out 2 knights. Because in this game, and there's my Kasali Pride Mage. In this game, the knight can only really function as a land finder. So I'm hoping for the double block here, but he doesn't fall for it. And Reality Smasher, I can't get the Smasher with my path. So I'm going to get Thought Knots here. Because I got the 3 nobles with the Voice of Resurgence, so I can pound them on the way back. And also Kasali Pride Mage is going to give me a bump as well. But I'm going to go for the card draw at the stage with the Tireless Tracker. Play out the Pride Mage. You can see all the Exalted triggers. Courses is 6/8, and suddenly this is a very lethal board. I'm a bit surprised he actually swung there. I'll just take the creature, but this is a massive misplay from me here, Voice of Resurgence, because if he's got some sort of board wipe, which he does, I've just completely lost my board. I do get a card draw from the Thought Knots here, and I will get an extra clue. See, I'm going to get Zeusa. And you can see suddenly my board looks very ordinary. So now he's got another relic. I think that's the 3rd one. But you can see 9. He's going to kind of have to sack it. He's going to have to sack that relic if he wants to get rid of my board, because there's 9 in the bin. I'm not sure what the hold up here is. He's played out 2 relics now. I probably misplayed. I should have sacked the Pride Mage in response in the last turn. So we're both out of cards, both playing off the top of our deck. And he's going to start going to work on my graveyard again. And that's a huge top deck. Cross my fingers he doesn't have a Thought Knot Seer or a... what's the other one called that can get it, until I find a land, a Thoughtseize. And there's my land, so all good. Now here I'm on 7 life, so I didn't really want to shock because it would have meant I'd be dead to a top deck Reality Smasher. I'm looking for removal, and I find it Reclamation Sage. So the pesky relic is gone. And I think he misplayed there. He realised at the end he had F11 or F12 set, because he should have sacked the relic and got that Collected Company out of my grave. As you can see, this is going to come back and be huge as I chip him down to 3 now. I do have to get rid of that Shambling Vent. I don't have a way to do it at this stage. He's going to dismember my Tireless Tracker, so that the Tireless Tracker was one option. And here I'm a little surprised he doesn't fire up the Shambling Vent and crack back. Because, and this is the big thing from before, because he forgot to crack it, I can now get back my Collected Company. And it's going to probably seal the match. Collected Company has to survive a turn. I'm not sure what the delay is here, so we skip ahead, get the Collected Company back. I still have to deal with that Shambling Vent. Because if I was to swing now, I'd push through 4, but he'd take down one of my blockers and go to 3. Gavany Township is one way to get around that. But then I draw a Ghost Quarter, so it's over anyway. Immediately sack it and get the Shambling Vent. And I've got lethal on board. And we're going to go to Legacy. No lands, I can't keep that. This one I can keep. It doesn't have a reanimation spell, but you can see there's one on the top, so I'm going to keep it. So it's Chancellor of the Annex is going to try and get the win for me. So he can't play anything at this stage because of Chancellor. He needs to tap 1. So this enables me to go off turn 1. I thought seize myself. And get back Chancellor of the Annex. So now he's got a tax on him for the rest of this game. When I see the Abzan colours, it's I think my main threat here is Swords to Plowshares. Chancellor's got flying, so it's a 2-turn clock here. He's got 2 turns to win this. Voice of Resurgence, I don't really care. I can just fly over the top of. I think he realizes and he's trying to race, but I'm down to 7. So he's dead next turn. And one thing I did not see coming, he's going to gain life through Kitchen Finks. So he's going to go to 6. At one point is going to be absolutely crucial as he puts me to 5. Suddenly I cannot swing, I have to block. And because I'm at 5 now, Siege Rhino is going to put me to 2, so he's actually got lethal on board right now. Because I can only block 1, the other one's going to do the lethal damage, but he doesn't recognize it. I just verify and chat whether he missed his attack phase by F11, because I would have just conceded. But he says no, he was holding back. So we go to my turn, I can still top deck something. But I don't, so we're going to game 2. This one's a keeper. Again, I can go off on turn 1, 2 Chancellors. Chancellor's not the best card to reanimate, but better than nothing. Three Chancellors is definitely what you don't want. So just like the first game, I'm going to start with a Chancellor again. And he concedes immediately, which was a bit surprising, so he must have kept a really weak hand. This one, Collective Brutality can put something in the grave, but I still need another land to be able to do it, because Lotus Petal will get sacked. I've had Chancellor every single opening hand now. Faithless Looting, so I get greedy here. I'm thinking about this seriously, which way I want to go. I'm going to go the greedy route. I find a Grave Titan, and I find the land that I require. He misses, you can see he's missed his second land drop, so that's ominous now. And here comes Grave Titan, and this one's going to be over pretty quickly, I suspect. Plays a Deathrite Shaman that gets countered. And it's a ton of power, so I've actually got lethal on board next turn. Now I kind of misplay because I go for Exhume, which I didn't need to do. It gives him back the Deathrite Shaman. Which gives him access to the second mana and a coloured source if he requires it. So now he's got 3, he's going to play Sylvan Ranger, but tap, and this one's over, so I'm going to take Legacy, 2 games to 1.